Hello world, welcome back to Razor RC. Today we are doing the full review of the Traxxas Hoss 4x4 VXL. So this is the brand new 1/10 scale electric four-wheel drive monster truck from Traxxas. Sells for $479 here in the United States. That's the MSRP, but street price is about $469 or $470. So this came out a little over a week ago, and I've just been running it, driving it, testing it, and tuning it as well. I wanted to share my thoughts. So I'm going to review this in all my usual categories on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, where 3 stars would be average as compared to other vehicles in its class. 5 stars would be way above average, and 1 star would be quite poor, of course. So what is the Traxxas Hoss? It's pretty much their new RC car in their line of their 4x4 VXL line. So pretty much very similar to the Stampede 4x4, the Wrestler 4x4, the Slash 4x4. I'm very familiar with this line of vehicles and have owned several, like 4 or 5 within this lineup, and just wanted to give you my thoughts on this. So first off, we're going to talk about the electronics. And so the Hoss 4x4 comes with their standard TQI radio that comes on pretty much all their vehicles. Pretty decent radio if you get the Traxxas Link. So that's a little Bluetooth module actually that enables all the features and allows you to use your phone as basically a display and adjust all your trim, endpoints, all that stuff, TSM, all that kind of stuff. So I do like this radio if you pick up the Traxxas Link, but without that, it's kind of a poor radio because it's really hard to adjust anything. I mean, they do have some flashing LEDs and sort of a flow chart menu thing that you can walk through, but that is kind of a big pain. So that's what we got in the radio. In the vehicle itself, it comes with their standard VXL 3S ESC, so 3S capable ESC. I don't know how many amps, I don't think they publish it, but it does actually come with these larger bullet connectors. I think they're 6.5 millimeters, and their standard Traxxas TQI Traxxas ID plug, although I do have a little adapter there for an EC5. Motor wise, it comes with their 540 XL, so this is their long can motor, also seen on the Spartan boat and the Traxxas Max. So it is actually 4S capable. It goes up to 2400 kV. That's the rating, K per voltage. And then receiver wise, they got their standard TQI radio with TSM, self-writing, so it's basically got a built-in gyro. And then on the servo, comes with the 2075, which is their basically their low-end plastic geared servo, about 125 inches of torque. I think speed is something like 0.17 per 60 degrees, 0.17 seconds per 60 degrees. I have rated to the 2075X, which is the exact same servo, just metal geared to provide some more durability. But yeah, the 2075 is what it comes with. So electronics wise, I think the radio is kind of average. You know, if you get the Link, it's actually really good. Without it, it's below average. So I think as is, you know, I'd rate that average. ESC also about average, not especially powerful. These can run hot, especially on 3S, and so I think that's why they included the fan now. Most of the VXL 3Ss actually do not come with a fan, so they realize it does run hot on 3S. And then the motor wise, you know, actually a pretty good motor, although the kV rating is kind of low. You know, really you want something more like 3000 or 3200 kV rating, not something in the 2400 kV rating range, because something like this will actually run a little slow RPM wise. You know, it's pretty torquey, but you're not really getting the full potential of the revs out of that. So you know, I like the can motor. I think it's better than average. The servo is definitely below average. So overall, I'm gonna give it an average rating, 3 stars. So the Traxxas Hoss is made in Taiwan. Most RTRs are actually made in China. It's mostly really the race kits out there, like TLR or associated race kits, that are generally made in Taiwan. But Losis, Armas, you know, pretty much all the RTRs are generally made in China. So I do find that the quality control tends to be better on Traxxas than other RTRs out there. So no real issues with the build. You know, the quality of plastics is quite high. Everything was fit together correctly. The turnbuckles even line up correctly. Diffs had fluid, shocks had fluid in them. So no real issues. You know, nothing fell apart while I was driving it, so it's always good to see that. However, there is one major issue with this, which is that it only comes with one battery strap. This is a 2S and 3S LiPo capable RC car. You know, it's pretty much one of the most powerful 3S monster trucks out there, yet it only comes with a battery strap that will fit a 2S battery. So it comes with this, which is a 26mm battery strap. I believe it was actually originally intended to come with a 35mm battery strap, which would fit some 3S LiPos at least, but in my opinion, they kind of messed up on the initial run of these and forgot to include that. So you do have to buy that separately if you want to run a larger battery. So that I think is a major issue. Making people buy a 3S battery strap seems pretty ridiculous considering this is a $470 RC truck. You know, obviously intended to run on 3S. It's got the 3S ESC and the 3S and 4S capable motor. So I'm actually going to give it below average score just for that. Missing the battery strap, not allowing you to run a normal 3S battery pack out of the box is pretty much definitely below average. So while the rest of the vehicle actually was put together quite well, and I do like Traxxas RTRs in general, I think the quality control is definitely higher on these than most RC cars out there. Missing a 3S battery strap gives it a below average. So I'm going to give it 2 stars in the build category. That was definitely a big oversight. Next up is the design. So if you've ever owned or driven any of the other 4x4 VXLs, the Stampede, the Slash, the Rally, the Rustler 4x4, they're all pretty much the same car. They got the same arms, same divs, same general drivetrain, same electronics. Pretty much everything is the same on this. Now this is a brand new chassis for the Hoss. It does have, again, a high center gravity chassis. It does have this forward mount receiver box kind of integrated in the chassis itself, so that's kind of cool. It is in general, you know, fairly average design at this point. It's been around for about 10 years. A lot of other vehicles carry this, but you know, it's pretty good overall. I think, you know, removing the front and rear ends basically come off with like 4 screws, and then you can pull the whole rear end off or pull the whole front end off or whatever. Just easy to work on, easy access disc. They just kind of have a diff cover, so you don't have to pull the whole end on if you don't want. I do like the battery strap system, you know, if you get batteries that fit. So a 26mm battery strap is going to be for 2S battery. The included or the optional 35mm battery strap actually is a little bit small. You know, I would have preferred to have seen like a 42mm battery strap, which is what comes on the Rustler. I don't know why they went with a smaller battery strap for 3S. It really doesn't make sense because most hard cases are going to be 38mm. So you're going to have to find special 3S packs that will fit even with that optional 35mm battery strap. So overall in design, I'm going to get an average rating, 3 stars. It does have 3 sealed differentials. It does have the metal Sprigger I like to see. It does have that large can motor. Lots of adjustments. I do like the body. You know, it does come with like this roll cage quick clip body, which finally works. You know, they did have issues with the Rustler where the body was popping off too much. I have a Max which has the same design, and the body pops off occasionally on that one, so it's not perfect, but I think with this Hoss I've had no issues with the body popping off. So looks like they finally figured out, got that whole system working, so that's good to see. It is quite durable as well, but there are some things I don't like. First off is these, basically the Ultra Shocks. So these are the shocks that come on the truck, fully plastic, really dated design. Uses really small skinny springs that no one uses anymore. Everyone else is using like 12mm bore springs or 13mm bore springs. So these are small springs. The shock shafts tend to bend. Really are below average on something like this, which is you know, fairly expensive monster truck at this price point of $470. So okay, next up is the performance of the Hoss. And out of the box on 3S, it runs about 40 miles per hour or so, give or take 1 or 2 miles per hour depending on your battery. So performance I think is inline, you know, not great, not slow. It's decent. The motor is quite grunty. I think the torque on this motor is definitely above average, but I think the RPM and top speed is a little below average the way they have it geared. So driving wise, handling wise, these tires I think are actually pretty good. Provide a lot of traction in the dirt. They're decent on street as well, so huge improvement over the other tires such as the Talon tires that come on the Stampede. that is quite nice. They are quite stiff, so maybe not quite as much digging in the dirt, but probably will perform a little bit better on the street with those stiff tires. Handling wise, drives reasonably well, jumps and lands okay. I think the Ultra Shocks are a little bit too weak in the rear, so it does chassis slap the back end quite a bit. So performance-wise, I'm going to give it an average score, 3 stars. A little bit slower than some of the other vehicles out there, but the traction and the handling stuff I think is decent. So overall, an average score, 3 stars. Next up is durability, and so this is probably the area I had the most concerns about. I've had several Stampedes, I've had several Slashes, and durability I think was decent at the time, probably above average when they first came out, but the competition has just kind of improved this area over the last few years. Things like the Arma Granite are insanely durable. Things like the Team Associated rival MT10, still pretty good, although that does have some other weaknesses. These Ultra Shocks that come on this definitely have had problems in the past, with like the shock caps popping off or the shock shafts bending. I've definitely broken nearly everything on a Stampede 4x4 in the past, including like turnbuckles, knuckles, drive shafts, the body of course, but surprisingly, the Hoss has proven to be super durable. I've crashed this thing pretty hard doing 10-foot jumps in the air on 3S, landed upside down, landed on a corner. The body I think is quite durable overall. This roll cage thing really does work, even though the body itself is somewhat thin. I think that roll cage helps protect it quite a bit, so I am impressed by that. I think the body is super durable. And the vehicle itself, for whatever reason, they've gotten the plastic composites right or something like. So the thing I think most people may not realize is, although all these parts are very similar to the pre-existing parts, so the Stampede Slash, they all use basically the same parts. They have been slightly updated. So these shock towers, they have the same dimensions and everything as a regular Slash 4x4 shock tower, but they are a new part. They don't have like the integrated body posts on top, so they are slightly different parts. The arms are fully compatible with the old arms that come on the Stampede and the Slash, but they did get updated on the Rustler, and they're fully compatible. They're the exact same dimensions and everything. They mount up exactly the same, so you could actually take these and just retrofit them back onto your Slash or Stampede and get the benefits of that added durability. These bumpers are new, the chassis is new, the drive shafts are new as well. I think they're the same design as the Rustler, but they actually are made out of a stiffer material. So while everything pretty much looks the same as pre-existing things, I think they actually have been updated plastics wise. So for whatever reason, this thing has been more durable than all the other 4x4 VXLs I've owned in the past. So actually in the durability department, I'm going to give it 4 stars. I do think there's still probably a problem with the stock shocks, especially the shock shafts. I don't think those got updated at all. So I am not going to give it a full 5 stars, but really I haven't broken anything except for the battery strap. If you've seen my running video at the BMX park, I did have to run this one upside down just to fit a 3S pack in, but it did not really fit right, and eventually the battery strap broke. But yeah, overall, I'm going to give this an above average score. I do think it is more durable than even I was expecting, and so I'm going to give it 4 stars in the durability department. Support and maintenance is a big category because, face it, you're just going to break your RC car no matter what happens. Things are going to break, you're going to have to buy spare parts. And I think this is really the area that Traxxas leads the competition. They're probably the best supported company I know of, I've dealt with for sure. You can definitely call them. They'll actually answer the phone. You can talk to them. They generally have parts in stock, although this year, obviously in 2020, things are a little more difficult parts wise. But overall, Traxxas is very easy to work on. They've sent me out parts for things that were broken out of the box, stuff under warranty, so no real issues there. You're also very easily able to get parts at your local hobby shop. Pretty much they are the most widely supported company at your local hobby shop, because they are fully in support of local hobby shops. They believe in dealer networks and all that kind of stuff. So I think the support and maintenance category, I'm going to give it 5 stars. It is best in class. In addition to that, this car is easy to work on, easy to take things apart. There's tons of videos out there showing you how to do things, service the diffs, all that kind of stuff. And there's a huge aftermarket support as well, because this vehicle pretty much is the exact same design as a Stampede or Slash or Rustler or whatever. All the upgrades for those vehicles will pretty much fit on this as well. So in sport and maintenance category, this is best in class, 5 stars. And the last category is value. And so this is the area, you know, I feel I had the most concerns about. If you see my other video, everything right and wrong with the Traxxas Hoss, that was kind of a preview of this vehicle and what I saw. And at $480 or $470 street price here in the United States, that is way too high. The competition, something like the Armored Granite 4x4 VXL is $320, you know, $160 less. The Team Associated Rival MT10 is $300. This is pretty much the most expensive, you know, basically plastic 4-wheel drive electric, you know, 10 scale monster truck out there. Nothing even comes close to this price wise. $480 is really actually more in line with like 8 scale or at least 4S capable stuff. So the Losi Laser Nut is $480. The Arma Typhon 6S is $480, a 6S capable, basically all aluminum vehicle, aluminum shock tires, aluminum shocks, aluminum chassis, steel drive shafts. This thing is all plastic, yet they charge you $470 to $480. I think that is basically crazy high. I don't give out a 1-star rating very often, but in this case, the Traxxas Hoss at $470 street price, I'm going to give it a 1-star rating. That is the worst rating I can give in a category, and unfortunately for the Hoss, it was just priced way too high. I think a fair price would be something like $399. At $399, I'd give it like a 3-star rating. It's still got that Traxxas premium. It's still more expensive than most monster trucks out there, but at least is like reasonable. If they included like GTR shocks, aluminum shocks, if they included that Traxxas link, included like aluminum hexes or even a metal geared servo, you know, I could give them a little bit better score because I'm at least seeing some value in there. But $470, it's just way too expensive, and it's off by a lot. It's not like $20 or $30 too high. It's off by like $100. So yeah, in the value category, this definitely is going to get a poor score, 1 star. So final thoughts on the Traxxas Hoss 4x4 VXL. First off, the name's kind of dumb, sorry, but I think the paint scheme is also fairly ugly, but these are not really important topics. What my personal opinion is that this is what the Stampede 4x4 2.0 should have been. I mean, there are a lot of just general issues with the Stampede 4x4. I cover them a lot in my other videos. Shocks, servo, it's a little bit too small, the tires suck, the body is pretty flimsy, but they pretty much fixed all that in the Hoss. So they got the really nice body, super durable. They got good tires that actually work really well. They made the chassis a little bit bigger. They included a steel spurger, a good sized motor that, you know, won't overheat on just regular 3S. So overall, you know, they improved the durability a lot. They improved the performance. They made it easier to drive, handles better, more traction, so you can drive it in more terrain. They even fixed the wheelie bar. That was a problem on the Stampede 4x4 where the wheelie bar would always just fall off because it just kind of clipped in, and every time you actually hit something on it, it would just flop down. So they pretty much fixed everything that was wrong with the Stampede 4x4 except for the shocks and the servo. If they fixed that, then I would actually say they've made like the ultimate Stampede. But for whatever reason, you know, unlike other companies that will just update a vehicle and replace it, so like the Armored Granite, they had a V2 and a V3 version that's coming out in a week or so. With the Traxxas Hoss, they did not really fix the Stampede and call it a 2.0. They just released an all new vehicle and then jacked up the price $100. I think that was the wrong approach. That's my personal opinion. I think they should have just replaced the Stampede with this and just called it a 2.0. Maybe raise the price a little bit to like $399, $419, somewhere in that range. We'll have to see if Traxxas drops the price on the Traxxas Hoss. But as is, I think it's too expensive. It's a solid vehicle, and you know, nothing really wrong with it per se, but the price is just way too high. So anyways, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think about the Traxxas Hoss. If you're going to pick one up, if you don't like it or you recommend something else, put down a comment below. Definitely hit the like, share, subscribe button. Look for more videos soon, and thanks for watching.